Hello and welcome our blood viewers to RTD's News English edition. As usual, we'll begin tonight's news with the major and top highlights. Reflection workshop on optimizing the functioning of the Department of the Ministry of Budget. And on the international scene, Germany pledged 200 million euros to Brazil for environment causes. Those were the major and top highlights. Welcome back to our newsroom, our beloved viewers. The Prime Minister, Mr. Abdullah Muhammad, received this morning a delegation led by the Ministry of Labour in charge of formalization and social protection, Mr. Umar Abdi Said, at the primacy. The discussion focused on the training that started earlier this week at the INAP for the benefit of public administration agents, provided by the Regional Institution of the Administration of Lille, French. This training will be spread over several months where the agents of the Djibouti administration will acquire technical skills, capacity building and management of resources, and transmission of knowledge. Were present at this meeting the Director of INAB, Mr. Sharmanki Idris Ali, the Head of the French Embassy in Djibouti, the Head of the Prime Minister's Office, Mr. Ali Silay, the Director of Communication, Mrs. Shukri Ali, and Mr. Khadir Omar Kanile, Communication Advisor at the Ministry of Labour. As part of the preparation for the legislative elections scheduled for February 24, 2023, the prefecture of the Obok region under the supervision of ENEC proceeded earlier today, Tuesday, January 31st, to the signing of voter cards of all the constituencies in the Obok region. The prefect of Obok region, Mr. Abdullah Muhammad Bonita, accompanied by his deputies in the staff of the prefecture, signed and stamped all the voters' cards. Thus, the service of the election office has classified by office and alphabetically all the voters' cards to be withdrawn at any time. Once the voters' cards were laid out, the prefect of the Obok region, the president of the regional council, as well as personalities of the region withdraw their voters' cards. Taking advantage of this opportunity, the prefect called on the population of the Obok region to come and collect their voter cards in order to fulfill their civic rights. The elections office will be opened every day until the day before the elections. The Djibouti Ministry of Budget organized this morning a workshop to reflect on the recent institution of a report written to optimize the function of this ministerial department in view of an imminent reform. Officially launched by the Ministry of Budget, Mr. Isman Ibrahim Roble, the work of this workshop held at the People's Palace has brought together all senior officials of various sub-regional institutions and international experts of the Consortium GSM EM. In fact, the workshop follows the diagnostic mission on the Fond Vigilant last November by the Ministry of Budget and conducted by an expert firm of Couturism, a world-renowned firm specialized in the field. The Djibouti Ministry of Budget has entrusted this firm to conduct a diagnostic mission and propose ways to strengthen the central position of the Ministry in the management of public finances. During the sessions of the workshop, experts, senior officials from the Ministry will consult each other and openly discuss the strength and constraints of the diagnosis. For more information on the objective and expectations of this meeting, the Secretary General of the Ministry of Budget explained. The Ministers of Defense and member countries of the African Transition Somalia, ATMIS, met this Tuesday morning in Mogadishu with the aim of setting the agenda of the summit that the head of state and government of the member countries of the organization will have tomorrow, Wednesday, in the Somali capital. Member country of ATMIS, the Republic of Djibouti, is represented in the meeting by the Minister of Defense, Mr. Hassan Umar Muhammad, at the head of a high-level delegation, including the Chief of General Staff of the Djiboutian Armed Forces, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, the Chief of General Staff of the Republican Guard, Colonel Mohammed Jama' Douali, and the advisor to the military affairs of the President of the Republic, Colonel Mustafa Ali. Dedicated to the launching of a new course of security cooperation in the countries contributing armed forces in his country, the summit of tomorrow aims to approve the principle of a more offensive engagement in the fight against the terrorist group Al-Shabaab. The continuative to upgrade the ATMIS mission is in line with the Somali nation's increasingly fierce fight against the Al-Shabaab terrorist group initiated nearly 4 months ago under the leadership of the recently elected President of Somalia, President Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud. The sister nation's relentless fight against its terrorist movement of Al-Shabaab is also taking the form of an integrated fight for dignity where the various forces of this brotherly country are lending a hand on the ground to their armed and social forces. Under the chairmanship of the Secretary of State for Sports, His Excellency Mr. Hassan Mohammed Kamil, the organizing committee of the third edition of the Senior Table Tennis Championship of East Africa held the first meeting at the meeting room of the Ministry of Finance in the presence of the various poles responsible for organizing the event. 14 countries, including Djibouti, should take part in this African Championship of Table Tennis Seniors, Men and Women, which will take place from 8 to 12 March in Djibouti. The Secretary of State in charge of sports, Mr. Hassan Mohammed Kamil, chairman of the organizing committee, thanked all those working for the success of this important sporting event. He also stressed the role that this championship could have as to the ability of Djibouti. Several personalities, and not the least members of the organizing committee, marked with their presence this important meeting. It was the Secretary General of CSS, Mrs. Khadija Ibrahim Idris, the President of the CUNOSD, Mrs. Aisha Grad, the Director of Sports, Abshir Hassan, Director of Regional, Umar Hassan, the President of the Table Tennis Federation, and several other officials and members of the Secretariat of State for Sports. The swearing in of new members of the Independent National Commission for the Prevention and Fight Against Corruption took place this morning at the Supreme Court headquarters. The main stakeholders were gathered there, including the President and the High Magistrates of the Supreme Court, as well as the judges. The 9 new commissioners came from different public and private sectors, the parliamentary hemicycle, and local elected officials. They were appointed by presidential decree in January 12, 2023. The NCIPLC, placed under the authority of the President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, has the mission of leading the social transformation undertaken by the state to eliminate corruption. The members, chaired by Mrs. Badriya Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, are committed to exemplary citizenship and republicanism by acting with fidelity, loyalty, fairness, impartiality, and by keeping the declaration secret during their mandate. The CDC of Demerjau, in collaboration with the Association of the Union of the Young People of Demerjau, organized a tournament of Penatic started since December 2020. This tournament has put in competition 12 teams from the sub-prefecture of Demerjau. It is therefore in the afternoon of Monday, January 30, 2023, that the final took place in the presence of high authorities of the region, namely the sub-prefect Mr. Abdi Shakib Noor, the Vice President of the Regional Council of Arta, and the Director of the Regions of the MJC, and the Director of Economic Integration of Youth. The players are the finalist teams have demonstrated in a rather raised way their technical knowledge, tactics. Finally, the match ended with the awarding of medals and trophies. The Young Entrepreneurs Club of Ali Sibih region has completed the regional project for the development of women in the Oblai Brush area. The members of the group benefited from a capacity building training on the techniques of planting vegetables and fruit trees. This preliminary training on agricultural techniques given by the famous farmer of Asamo, Dahir Absiye, was provided of 3 members of the Club for Young Entrepreneurs of the region of Ali Sibih. This program has a fundamental aspect that consists in encouraging regional development through local initiatives by supporting its expertise in financing the proposals of feminist civil society in several areas. As there are more women than men in the world and they do not always have the same opportunities as men, it is paragrammatic that they have better opportunities for social integration. Ultimately, the project aims to promote rural livelihoods, develop skills, and support marketing processes by enabling women's access to finance and non-financial services while strengthening project management. A workshop was held at the headquarters of the Regional Council of Oboh to launch the activities of the project of the preparation of detailed development plans for the extension areas of housing and the restructuring and regional plans of the precarious neighborhoods of the city. This project is funded by the Djibouti Social Development Agency through the African Development Bank's project and piloted by the Ministry of City, Urbanism and Housing through the DATU. The meeting was chaired by the prefect and the president of the Regional Council and was attended by representatives of the Regional Council, the prefecture, the European Representation and Social Housing Agency, the Concentrated Services and civil society. The team of consultants from Chaos Italy, an international firm specialized in planning and urbanism led by the mission leader, introduced the participants to the objectives and technical approach of the project. Thereafter, the team of consultants led a broad discussion on the problems of the city and the expectations of the population in the fact of the challenge of sustainable development. To this end, the exchanges were truly fruitful. Breaking news, a fire broke out in the District 5th of Balbala in the late afternoon today. The flames started around 4 p.m. and quickly spread in the neighborhood. Faced with the emergency teams of firefighters were immediately mobilized to the scene. With the help of the police and gendarmerie, they worked quickly to control the fire and prevent further damage. The firefighting efforts were successful and the fire was eventually extinguished. Although the first have been brought under control, the fire crews are still on the scene, investigating the cause of the fire and looking for possible victims. So far, fire crews have discovered that 11 homes were affected by the fire, but the search for additional damage continues. After the fire, the focus will be on supporting the affected families and helping them rebuild their homes and lives. The cause of the fire is still unknown at this time, but fire crews are working tirelessly to uncover the truth and keep the community safe. In times of crisis, it is important to remember the bravery and dedication of those who work to protect and serve our communities. Fire crews, police, and constables are truly heroes, and their efforts will not be forgotten. As part of the fight against trafficking in illegal trade, the Customs Brigade of PK51 of the region of Arte, in collaboration with the Road Gendarmerie, has once again intercepted this Tuesday, a significant amount of khat smuggling. Indeed, it is during the control operation and announced car circulating the corridor of the National Road Number 1, the Customs and Gendarmeries have discovered and seized packages of prohibited khat hidden in vehicles belonging to individuals. As a result, the drivers were quickly fined, their means of transport restricted, and taken to the customs checkpoint of PK51. According to the procedure in phase, the seized smugglers' goods are destroyed on the spot. Shifting gears towards the international scene now, our blood viewers. After Argentina and Chile, Olaf Scholz arrived in Brazil on Monday to conclude his Latin American tour. The German Chancellor announced 200 million euros in aid for environmental projects. 35 million euros will be paid to the Amazon Fund after its freezing in 2019, where the climate power under his management, deforestation in the Amazon has broken records. Well, by this, our blood viewers, we finally conclude this edition. Thank you for being with us, and make sure to tune in later for more. Wish you a wonderful evening. Thank you.